Hey everybody, and welcome to day 2 of the 60-day novel writing challenge. I am Haley, your host, and I am so excited to see you back. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button below so that you don't miss a single video. And then whatever it is you're drinking today, for me, it's a pumpkin spice latte in my lovely Washington mug. Whatever it is you're drinking, grab a cup, cozy up, and let's get to writing. First of all, if you don't write sci-fi or fantasy, don't skip this video just because it says world building. World building is for everybody. It's for every genre. It just might look a little bit different if you're not writing sci-fi or fantasy. So if it's a cozy romance you're doing, your world is the town that it's set in. I want to know things like the architecture and the history and what are the people like? Do they seem like they might be in on some sort of conspiracy, or are they hostile towards outsiders? I want to know, is it small and quaint, or is it a big city? Wherever it is that you're taking place, that becomes your world. So a lot of these things will still apply even if you're not writing sci-fi and fantasy. World building though is usually used as a sci-fi fantasy term because you have to literally build the world from the ground up. A lot of you guys probably know that I write fantasy, so as I go into this, I'm going to need to be thinking about things like countries and politics and who governs them and what's the state of affairs between them and what are their main exports and what's the climate like and what's the magic system like. There is so much that goes into building a fantasy, and then sci-fi is exactly the same, you know? What spaceships are they flying around in? What are the territories in space and how are they split up? What are the federations and what are the alliances that have come up in your sci-fi world? There is so much to build when you're in either of these categories. Now you're going to want to make a new document that's separate from your character sheets that we did yesterday and separate from your ideas sheet, which we're going to keep adding to. This one's going to be just about world building. And you don't have to download another sheet from me to do this. There's just going to be 5 main questions that I want you to answer, and we're going to go through those right here. The first of the world building questions is about your climate, your landscape, and your terrain. Basically, what does your world look like? So is it lush and green? Is it dry and arid? We just want to know, are the skies blue or are they gray? You just want to describe what the world looks like, whether it's a different planet or whether you're writing a vampire romance in Fewkes, Washington. You really want to be able to set the scene by knowing what the world looks like in that area. And if you are setting that in a real place, in a real town, this is where you're going to want to do a lot of research. If you're making your own world, this is where you just got to get really creative and start coming up with details of what the trees look like and how the rain falls. Is it different there than it might be here? There's a lot that can go into this. Now the second one is your political setting, and this is going to look so different depending on what you're writing. Because if you're in space, your political setting might be multiple galactic empires who all hate each other. Or if you're in a high school, your political setting could be, you know, who's in charge there? Is it really the principal or is it the popular kids? There's a lot to think about. It's not quite as political, but there's still a structure. There's still some sort of a hierarchy for who's in charge. If you're in a small town, ask yourself who's in charge there. Is it the sheriff, or is it maybe the underground mob who's running the place? Or if you're building a big fantasy world, you might have 20 different countries and you have to ask yourself about the political climate there. Are there alliances? Who rules them? Are they run by queens or empresses? There is a lot to think about when it comes to the political setting. If you're like me and you're doing a big world with lots of countries, you're going to need to know the political climate of all of them as well. So it's gonna... I know there's only 5 things that we have to fill out, but if you're doing a big fantasy world, there are going to be a lot of countries to fill in the blanks for. And you want to know all of those things before you go into it. You don't want to just figure that out while you're writing, otherwise it's going to be a lot harder later. Now, number 3 is, what is your world known for? So remember, your world doesn't have to be a whole planet. If your story is taking place in a small town, that is your world. But ask yourself, what are they known for? Is it a mining town? Are there abandoned mine shafts everywhere? Is the whole town known for maybe being haunted? If you're looking at a big planet or big countries, what do they export? What are some policies that they might have that they're known for outside of that area? Now, number 4 is going to be about what their people are like. So are they hostile towards outsiders, or maybe they're warm and inviting? Or do they have something in common? Do they share common values? Like maybe they all value honor and courage. Or do they share common hobbies where everybody in this particular school really loves music? There's a lot of things that can tie people together. So what ties your people in your world together? And then the last thing to ask yourself is about cultural values. Do they have shared holidays that they all get together and celebrate? Do they have traditions or rituals that outsiders wouldn't quite understand or that would be interesting to outsiders? There is so much that we can unpack as we go through these 5 questions, but remember, as you answer them, you want to be as robust and creative with your answers as you can, because the ultimate goal is to come up with 10 more ideas for that notes and ideas sheet. So this is all about idea generation as you go through and you're getting a feel for who runs the town and who might be a little bit shady. It should give you some more ideas for your story. So you want to come up with at least 10 more today. You should be at a total of 20 by the end of today. And I'm looking forward to doing this as well. I have a lot of countries that I need to outline. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. But before you go, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I don't want you to miss a single video, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow on day 3 of the 60-day novel writing challenge. See you then.